All right, the draw is out. Welcome to the official 2024 Roland Garros draw preview and prediction show here on The Slice. The big news is Rafa Nadal versus Alexander Zverev in the first round. Can you believe it? That's crazy. We're going to break it down. First round matchup, that is just bonkers. We've got everyone here. We weren't sure if Sinner was going to be able to play. It looks like he is. We've got Nadal possibly playing his last ever Roland Garros tournament. We've got Alcaraz back with an arm injury. We've got Djokovic warming up in Geneva. We've got Zverev coming off a win. This tournament is wide open. It's potentially the most wide open major in decades people are talking about. So we're going to break down the draw here on the men's side of things. We're going to look at who are the real contenders, who are the real pretenders. We're going to look at the routes to the final for the top four contenders in my mind, and we're going to break it all down. Welcome to The Slice. I've got my coffee in the bagel mug. It's early. We're breaking down the draw. That's what we do. Let's get into it. Okay, what a draw. What a draw. First things first, thanks for being here. Welcome. This is going to be a busy 2 weeks. I appreciate your support as always. So if you haven't yet, smash the subscribe button. Join the family. We are on our group on our way to 20,000 subscribers, and you help us out. So I appreciate your support. If you're in North America like me, you are going to be watching tennis early for the next 2 weeks, which is nice, in my opinion. If you're in other places in the world like Australia, it's probably pretty late. Anyways, in general, we all band together and get to watch this tournament, the second major of the year, go down, which is awesome. So welcome to The Slice. First things first, where are the seeds in the draw? Djokovic, for some reason I have Ruud as the number one seed. He is not, shocker, the number one seed. I meant to put 7 there. We've got Djokovic, Ruud on the top quarter. The second quarter, we've got Zverev and Medvedev. The third quarter, we've got Rublev and Alcaraz. The fourth quarter, we've got Hurkacz and Sinner. So, yeah, big news for me is Alcaraz and Sinner on the bottom half together. Djokovic and Ruud is in the quarter. That's interesting. And Nadal is also on the top half. So, Djokovic, Nadal, Zverev on the top half. Tsitsipas, Sinner, Alcaraz on the bottom half. So, I think the big question there for me was where's Alcaraz going to land? And he landed on Sinner's half of the draw. So to me, that's an instant kind of little check for Djokovic there in his draw. But we're going to get into the roots because it gets pretty complicated after this. But yeah, let's just talk about the stories coming into this if we don't. Let's just set the stage from this clay swing. I'm going to go through my power rankings coming into this tournament, kind of what's happened so far in the clay swing. Then we'll get into the quarters of the draw, the routes to the final for the big guys, and just looking at the entire draw in depth. Does that sound fair? Sounds fair to me. So what happened in this clay swing? In Monte Carlo, we had Stefanos Tsitsipas go on a great run and win the tournament. One of his best results in a long time. Beats a healthy Sinner, beats Ruud in the final. Just plays a great tournament. Then we go on to have Casper Ruud get revenge and win in Barcelona, taking out Tsitsipas in the final. A good win there for Casper Ruud, his biggest ever tournament at ATP 500. And then we go to Madrid, where Rublev comes out and wins the tournament, beating Felix Auger-Aliassime in the final. Plays a good tournament. And then in Rome, now we are in Rome, Zverev falls to his knees, wins a big title for him, and comes into Roland Garros being pretty high on his horse, being pretty confident, you could say. So it's been a weird clay swing. It's been a weird clay swing because Djokovic hasn't played great. He's technically still on the clay swing prior to Roland Garros. He's playing in Geneva right now as we speak, trying to get some form together, trying to get more matches, more wins under his belt before Roland Garros. You can see him here on the Geneva clay. Shout out to the Geneva tournament. I was there with a media credential in 2022. They actually gave my wife a media credential just so she could get in and watch the matches. Awesome tournament. Great people. Switzerland is the best. But other than that, Alcaraz has been injured. He only played 2 matches on clay so far. Wasn't able to compete in Rome. Sinner was injured. Had to leave Madrid early. Had to miss Rome, and we weren't sure if he was going to even play Roland Garros, but it looks like he is. So we've had Djokovic not win any titles, not play great on the clay, and this is the first time he's coming into the French Open, as I've talked about multiple times on the show, without making a final. This could change. He is playing Geneva, so he could make the final there. So this stat might get broken, but at this point, not making a final, until the French Open, even including Geneva, would be the first time in his career, basically since 2006, excluding 2018 when he was recovering from surgery. So it's been a weird clay swing. And as we've talked about, this tournament to me is wide open, wide open, because also Nadal's here. So every single time you come to the French Open, you got to talk about Nadal having a serious chance. He's won the tournament 14 times. So I've always said if he shows up in a wheelchair, he's got a good chance of winning the tournament. And he's not quite in a wheelchair now, but he has been doing his farewell tour. He's been saying goodbye in Madrid, in Rome. And is this goodbye for him on court Philippe Chatrier, where he's been the absolute king for decades? Is it goodbye that he's playing Alexander Zverev in the first round? Just crazy town. Obviously, they're replaying their match from 2 years ago where Zverev snapped his ankle, and the first 2 sets took like almost 3 hours. Just an insane match. So, that we'll get into that a bit more, but I think, Zverev is a massive favorite in that match. But it's Roland Garros. So, and if anyone was going to stumble on the moment, it might be Zverev out of anyone that we've seen. So let's go through my power rankings here. And I'm just going to put them all up on the screen. Stevens, Roland Garros power rankings, including their clay record. Coming into this tournament, this is going to be controversial for sure. But I've got Tsitsipas at the top because he has a 13-3 record on the clay. Although his last 2 tournaments weren't as good, he was kind of better during the first bit of the swing. He won Monte Carlo. That's a big deal. And the pressure's off him in this tournament now. He's made the final before. He's, been thought of as the next guy to win on clay. And he, got brain damage from getting up 2 sets to love on the Djokovic in the final in 2021 and losing it. But now the pressure's off him. He's not a top 8 seed. He's playing good tennis on the clay. He won Monte Carlo, and he's not become less dangerous on clay. Like, let's just be clear. So, and in a tournament where there is no real clear favorite to me, Tsitsipas might be the guy with the best clay form coming in. And right behind him, I got Zverev, who won in Rome. That's pretty clear. He won the last tournament he played. He's going to be feeling confident. Number 3, I've got Djokovic, who obviously has had terrible form on the clay and really all year, but he's won 24 majors. He's won this tournament 3 times. Outside of Nadal, he's really the only player he is the only player in the draw who's won the French Open. So to me, I just put a ton of weight on his ability to figure it out over 5 sets compared to all these younger guys. Of course, he started to lose more in the majors. Sinner, Alcaraz last year, but it's still Novak Djokovic. So I've got him at 3 as the power rankings coming in. And then I've got Sinner. So the injury is a question mark for sure, but he was playing great all year. He's the best player in 2024 until probably he got injured. Probably still is. He's definitely leading the race to the year-end ranking race. So I've got him above Alcaraz there because Alcaraz has been injured, hasn't played quite as good, and I was struggling with 4 and 5 there because Alcaraz, from all things from their career, has been better on clay, but it's not that different now. And Sinner's good on clay, and he can slide, he can play, he can bomb it. So I've got him above Alcaraz in the power rankings. Then I've got Ruud, who's got a stellar record on clay, the best behind Tsitsipas, and he's got a title. But I just don't have him being as dangerous in this tournament as the 5 guys ahead of him, unfortunately. Then I've got Rublev. He's been playing great, or he wasn't playing great, and then he won in Madrid. And then, so I put weight on that. He looks good. Medvedev 6-3. And really, it's kind of a shame that I don't have Nadal in there, but what can I say? What can I say? I don't know how much belief I have in the king. Can I say that without getting shamed, without you guys throwing tomatoes at me? I don't know. But okay. That's my power rankings coming in. Before we get more into the draw, we have to give a shout out to these two brothers. Dominic Thiem and Diego Schwartzman unfortunately look like they played their last matches at Roland Garros ever. To me, both of them are retiring early. Diego just lost his form, and I don't know what the deal. I mean, he is older. He's 31, and he's basically a midget. So it's taken a lot to be where he was at in general with the tour, and then he just lost his form. And at 31, that's still not that old, and you got to feel like he's retiring early. He just can't find his form. Basically, there's no injury there that, as far as I'm aware. He's probably just lost the drive after losing early so many times in a row and not being able to get back to where he was and probably should be as far as his skill level, which was always amazing that he could compete at the level he did with his physical size. Beat Nadal and Clay, had an amazing career. So he's retiring. And Dominic Thiem, which makes me literally depressed and want to cry, has allegedly played his last match, both losing in the second round of qualifying. And Dominic Thiem's wrist just will not allow him to play at the level he used to play at. Because if it did, like I said before, I'm sure he would have won more majors and probably been number one in the world at one point. So, without an injury, he should have played another 5 years at least. And it's just one of the most depressing things I've ever come across in tennis, for sure. So shout out to these Warriors. Much love to them. Huge thank you for everything they brought to the game. And this tournament's worse without them being, competitive in the draw for sure. For sure. So let's get into the draw. Let's look at the top 4 names in the draw, in my opinion, routes to the final. Okay, I think this is Djokovic route to the final. First match is going to be a Pierre Huget Herbert. Should be fine. Carballes Baena or Lestienne in the second round should be fine. Then it gets tough. Lorenzo Musetti in the third round, the 30th ranked player. That could be tough for sure. Athlete can drag it out. They've gone 5 sets at Roland Garros before. That could be tough. And then in the fourth round, doesn't get any easier. Cerundolo actually gets harder. Cerundolo or Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul is played great on the clay. He's the type of player that can really drag a match out. And he's playing the best he's ever played. He's up to a career, I think high ranking of 14 again. Then if he gets through that into the quarterfinals to either play Casper Ruud, who beat him earlier in the clay swing in Monte Carlo, I believe, or Taylor Fritz, who he's calling himself Claylor Fritz. So that's tough. That's tough again. Obviously, I'm taking Djokovic in all of these matches if Djokovic is playing well and he's playing in a 5-set format, but he's more defeatable than he has been previously. So yeah, let's be clear on that. Then if he makes it through the quarterfinals, he'll either play Zverev, Medvedev, Rune, or Nadal in the semifinals. So that's probably better than playing Alcaraz or Sinner in the semifinals because of obvious reasons, I think. But Zverev could be really tough. If he gets a roll, he beats Nadal in the first round, he gets through the semifinals, he's going to be teeming with confidence and, in general, has a better form on clay than Djokovic does. So you got to watch that. So, and then in the final, you could play Alcaraz or Sinner. So what do you guys think about Djokovic's route to the final? I think that's pretty medium difficult. Not easy. It's a benefit that Alcaraz and Sinner aren't on his side of the draw, but it's not, I think that being true, it's a hard draw for Alcaraz and Sinner not being on his side of the draw. So what do you think? I've done Nadal's route to the final because this is crazy. So Nadal, you got to put respect on his name. If in the first round, he's going to play Zverev, the 4th seed. if he beats him, which, to be clear, I think would be a miracle at this point. You saw him get wiped off the court in Rome by Hubert Hurkacz. Like maybe the only person who's serving bigger than Hubert Hurkacz in the world, Zverev, bombing it. He's going to be smashing it from the baseline. He's going to have Nadal on the run immediately. And I just can't see his body hanging in for that or his level. So anyway, so if Nadal gets through Zverev, then he could play Goffin in the second round, Griekspoor in the third round, Holger Rune or Khachanov in the fourth round, de Minaur or Medvedev in the quarterfinals, Djokovic or Ruud in the semifinals, Alcaraz or Sinner in the finals. So again, all respect on the king of clay, the greatest clay court player of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. What are his odds of winning this tournament? 1%? Around there? Am I being mean? I'm not being mean. I'm not doubting him out. I'm not putting it at 0 because that would be ridiculous. But what do you think the odds are in your honest opinion? Okay, now we go to the bottom of the draw. Alcaraz, Ruud. First round qualifier or lucky loser. And then second round, hey, how are you? Jack Draper in the second round. Not an easy matchup. Not an easy matchup. On clay, if Alcaraz is feeling healthy, he should be the series favorite there, and he should get through that match, but it's not easy. Third round is maybe easier. Korda, Kwan, or Rusev Wari. Again, if Alcaraz is feeling good, he should be no problem there. Thanks for coming out. Fourth round, it gets a little interesting. Felix Auger-Aliassime, great athlete, been playing better, makes the Madrid final in weird circumstances, or Ben Shelton. That could get spicy, couldn't it? It could. Tsitsipas or Rublev in the quarterfinal there. Tsitsipas, again, my top power ranking player coming in. Rublev won in Madrid, so that is a serious quarterfinal for Alcaraz. But if he's playing, if he's really no issues with the arm, looking great, I'm taking him over Tsitsipas. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Semifinals, either Sinner or Hurkacz. Tough, but I think I'm taking him over those guys again. If he's playing great, I think he's still a better clay court player than Sinner. So that might not make sense with my my power rankings, but the power rankings are pre-tournament coming in. If Alcaraz starts to really feel it and have no injuries and look totally unhampered in this tournament, he's right up there with anyone as the favorite. And then in the final he would either play Djokovic, Zverev, Nadal. Make sense? What do you guys think? I think Alcaraz's route is decently tough. Definitely decently tough. From the second round, you don't really get any breaks. So that could be pretty tough if the draw stays together like it should. And then we got the Sinner route. And the Sinner's route is as tough as any as it comes, in my opinion. First round, Christopher Eubanks. Hello, how are you? Second round, Coric or Gasquet. Third round, Murray, Wawrinka, Norrie. Fourth round, Jerry. Apparently I'm saying it wrong. Jerry or Baez. Like, incredible. Jerry's playing amazing. He's a killer. So that's super tough. And then in the quarterfinals, Hurkacz, Tabilo, Dimitrov, all playing great on clay. The semifinals, either Alcaraz or Tsitsipas. Finals, Djokovic, Zverev, Nadal. So, I mean, if that stays together for Sinner, that's as tough as it gets, in my opinion. He's got, to me, other than Nadal facing Zverev in the first round, which he's not a top 4 seed. Anyways, out of the top 4 seeds, I think Sinner's got the toughest route, but he's just going to be happy to play. And if he could play pain-free through his hip, I'm still taking him over almost everyone in that draw. And it's going to be really interesting. So that's why it's interesting, because there's so many guys who can win this tournament. Like, I could see Tsitsipas, I could see Zverev, I could see Djokovic, I could see Alcaraz, I could see Sinner. At this point, I could even see Ruud because of how Djokovic isn't playing great and the form that everyone's in. So yeah, just crazy. So yeah, anyways, that is the routes to the final. That's my power rankings. The next thing to do is to go through the draw, top to bottom. So let's do it. This is the Djokovic 16th. As we talked about, he could play Pierre Herbert. Who else is in that quarter or that 16th? We've got Musetti and a bunch of guys who are, if Djokovic is playing great, other than Musetti, he shouldn't really have any troubles, outside of Musetti. But we go down to the next 16th, and you've got Cerundolo, you've got Tommy Paul, and those guys are both good on clay for sure. So that could be Djokovic's fourth round opponent, Tommy Paul or Cerundolo. Tough fourth round. Not Fognini in that court in that 16th as well. He's a firecracker. You never know what's going on with him. Other than that, not too much going on in that 16th, in my opinion. And then we've got Claylor Fritz with Manarino, 22nd seed. You got the Aussie matchup, Poprin, Kokkinakis. Interesting. But still, not too much going on there. So this is all still the top Djokovic quarter. And then we've got the Ruud 16th. He's got Echeverry in his 16th there. And he's got, Casper Ruud plays Mensik in the first round. So that is not Jakub Mensik, which is not an easy first round match for Casper. So you got to watch out if you're Casper Ruud there, in my opinion. So that's the top quarter. Not too much going on there. Not too much out of the ordinary. I'd say we got the seeds, and then we got, not too much sauce in the wild cards or the qualifiers to upset things. Here's where it gets freaky town for sure. Zverev Nadal first round. I mean, what else can you say? Zverev Nadal first round, a rematch of their match from 2 years ago. You've got Goffin in there. You've got Mackie McDonald, who's kind of just been coasting, and you've got Greek Spurs, the 26th seed, in that 16th. Moving on, you've got Khachanov, the 18th seed, playing Sumit Nagal. And then you've got Holger Rune versus Dan Evans in first round. I mean, what a matchup that is. Holy smokes. Holger Rune hasn't been playing great on the clay or in general, but he's a dark horse for sure. He can beat anyone, it seems like, on clay. So he'll be playing Dan Evans in the first round. That's a not super comfortable match for anyone in the first round. Then the next 16th, we've got Alex de Minaur, the 11th seed, playing Mickelson from the U.S., who's a big player, big young player. Tough first round match for him. We've got RBA, Roberto Bautista Agut, playing Wame Munar. We've got Struff in the 16th, and we've got Bublik. So that's a bit of an interesting one for sure. The next 16th is Navone, the 31st seed from Argentina. There's a zillion Argentinians in the clay world. You got Medvedev in that 16th. You've got Machak, Nino Burgess, Pablo Carreño Busto trying to get his ranking back. That's an interesting one there for sure. We're still in the top half. Rublev, 16th. He'll play Taro Daniels. We've got Artur Fils. We've got Nardi in there. Interesting, nice clay players in that 16th for sure. Martinez, Nardi, Arnaldi, and then we've got Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas is 16th. He's a 9th seed, so he's not in the top 8. He's got Hugo Humbert in there. He'll play Fucsovics in the first round. That's dangerous. Sonego's in there. Zhang's in there. Altmaier's in there. Jerry's in there. A lot of good players in that 16th for Tsitsipas for sure. That's tough. And then Ben Shelton will play Hugo Gaston in the first round. That could be a clown show. Hugo Gaston, the little cheating rat. He's been fined for gamesmanship and cheating multiple times. Kei Nishikori in the draw there. Wow, look at that. You got Felix Auger-Aliassime playing Nishioka, our Canadian boy. Moving on, we've got Sebastian Corda. We've got Harold Mayo, Ruusuvuori, Quan Draper, and Alcaraz, as we talked about. So that rounds out the top half. We talked about how tough Alcaraz's draw can be. Moving to the bottom half, we've got Hurkacz. We've got Tiafoe, 25th seed, who's just been chilling. We've got our other Canadian, Denis Shapovalov versus Van Ash in the first round. We've got Brandon Nakashima in there. And then we've got Alejandro Tabilo, who's been playing great. 24th seed. He'll play a lucky loser. He could honestly come out of this 16th pretty easily. He'll potentially play Dimitrov in the third round. Nicholas Jarry, also playing awesome. Plays Mute in the first round. That'll be amazing in front of the French crowd. That'll be a war for sure. He's got Baez, so Jerry's my favorite to come out of that 16th for sure. And then we got Cam Norrie versus Kotov. We've got Wawrinka versus Murray. I mean, what is going on? What a crazy first round match. How many times has this happened in the majors? Like, that's insane. So that's crazy. And then, yeah, we got Sinner at the bottom to round out that 16th and round out the draw. So, prediction time. I mean, this is the toughest prediction I've ever had to do potentially, because it's maybe the most wide open draw I've ever seen. So if I had to predict who's going to win this tournament and put my life on it, I think I would have to go with Novak Djokovic. He's won 24 majors. It's still a surprise when he loses at a major, for sure. He won 3 last year. And so, duh. He did lose to Alcaraz, obviously, and he lost to Sinner this year. And this year seems to be a new year. But I've just got that feeling. If I had to put my life on it, it would be Djokovic. And he's playing in Geneva. He's warming up, so we'll see how it goes. But if it's not him out of the bottom half, I think the winner's coming out of the bottom half. Either Alcaraz or Sinner. But their injuries are a question mark. So really, right behind that, I know I had Tsitsipas up there, but Zverev and Tsitsipas are the next kind of those 5 guys. I really believe the winner is coming out of Djokovic, Alcaraz, Sinner, Zverev, or Tsitsipas. And that might feel like it might be safe, but you also never know about this guy. The king of clay, don't sleep on him. If he beats Zverev, the tournament should just go crazy. Like, that is just crazy town. If he beats Zverev, all of a sudden we're on major watch, major number, or French Open number 15 for Nadal watch. But yeah, in general, I can't wait for this tournament to get going. French Open is always awesome. It's going to be a great tournament. Thank you for being here watching The Slice. Let me know your predictions, your thoughts on the draw down below. We will get into this tournament as soon as the matches start. Thanks for being here.